when it comes to Christmas films, I'm not looking for anything groundbreaking. I'm looking for something that is heartwarming, cozy, and as magical as possible. The premise for my Christmas Inn sounded like something I'd really enjoy. There are a lot of films with very similar concepts, but unfortunately, the execution of this film really let itself down. It was released in 2018 and directed by Peter Sullivan and written by Jeffrey Schenck. And unfortunately, I had quite high hopes for this, and it did not deliver. So the description from IMDb is as follows. A big city advertising executive inherits her great aunt's inn and heads to the small Alaskan town where it's located to get it ready for sale. This Christmas, because of lockdown and not being able to do anything, I've watched maybe 50 Christmas films thanks to Netflix and Prime. And I've seen maybe 10 of those films are about people inheriting a property in a remote town where they live in the city. So I know how this should be done properly. I've seen it done very, very well. This was not one of those films. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's the worst film in the world, because it's not. There was nothing inherently wrong with it. I didn't think the acting was bad. I didn't think the casting was bad. I thought the casting was fine. It worked really well. We have some pretty interesting cast. Tia Mowry is in this, from Sister Sister. She plays our protagonist, Jen, and I have a big problem with Jen. Rob Mays plays Brian Anderson. I really liked him in this. I thought he was pretty decent. Now, my problem with Jen is that she's really unlikable, and there are a lot of protagonists in Christmas films who start off being really irritating, and then they go through this story arc where they get some great character development, they realise the error of their ways, and they become really likeable. Not once did I ever like Jen, and as I said, I don't think she was badly acted. I don't necessarily think she was badly written, because I feel like she remains true to her character throughout. She obviously does face some development, but there was just something about her that really irritated me. She was very kind of always standoffish, always felt like she knew better than everybody else, even as her character developed. Obviously that weakened over time, but she really irritated me, and that's one of the flaws with this. The other flaws with the narrative development, I feel like the pacing was fine. It didn't feel too slow, but at the same time, not a lot happened. It wasn't very gripping. Now, I'm not looking for a big adventure with this kind of film, but just not much happened. And the property she inherited was not that interesting. It was quite pretty, but I never felt attached to it. I never felt like we had enough of a backstory about this property. I would have liked to have known even more about what it was and why it would mean something to Jen as a character rather than just being a random house she inherited. I feel like the film missed a lot that it could have done much better. So it's 100 minutes according to IMDb. I'll be honest, it actually felt like less. It felt more like your average 1 hour 20-minute film, Christmas film. So, I guess credit where credit's due. The pacing was actually alright. And as I said, the acting was fine, the casting was fine, the directing, the camera angles were fine. I never felt like it was a poorly made film visually from a technological perspective. But for me, as somebody who watches films primarily for the narrative, I think it just really let itself down. I will probably never watch My Christmas Inn again. I'd say give it a go if you like Christmas films, because maybe it will work for you. Maybe it has the hallmarks of all of the things that you personally like from a Christmas film. It's not a bad film in the sense that I don't think anybody could like it. I just personally will not give it the time of day again unless I have a really big reason to.